Hello. I do a bit of a developer commentary and just kind of show how I play the game a bit. I've been getting into a lot of balanced discussions over things the last, I don't know, couple of months, really, the whole time. But I feel like the balance has gotten pretty much where it should be. And so, in this one, I've actually started this campaign because I'm trying to display... I'm debugging a display thing, so there's going to be once or twice where there's like a little skip in the video. So like right there, it's supposed to display an icon, but it didn't. So anyway, so yeah, there's a bit of a skip there, but you can see that not too much interesting has happened. I built a couple destroyers. I started with a downtown. That's one of the things I'll discuss in a minute. You can see that I prepped my invasion with 6 on the flagship. I must have been shot by that sub last turn, so now I'm sort of weighing the decision: should I sink the sub or maximize the damage on the cruiser? And since subs are so annoying, I decide to back off, and I'm just going to sink the sub, and do some damage to the cruiser, and then when it comes to me, since I have longbore cannons, I'm going to hit it back for like 15 damage or something, and then be able to finish it off the next turn. If I remember right, this gets really hairy in a second, because they end up having like 4 ships jump on top of me. But this is kind of how you have to play hard. You have to kind of go nose first. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you. But as long as you don't die right away, then you go steal their city, you heal up your flagship, and it's time to go. So yeah, they have another cruiser. Yeah, this is pretty good. And so that looks like bad news bears, right? Like, there's no way Eric's gonna find his way out of this. But really, this isn't so bad. I'm gonna kill 2 ships here, then I'll kill a cruiser next turn, then I'll kill the other one. So while this is going on, I'm gonna talk about downtowns. So somebody was talking, most people it seems are focusing on refineries, where the refinery's biggest benefit is that you can have multiple of them. The downside of refineries is they nuke your victory points, and the opportunity cost of having an early downtown is missed, because really a downtown is all about snowballing. Basically, if you have 15 turns or something, you want a downtown because it's going to get you the same amount of money as a refinery, but it's going to get you like 7,000 extra victory points, if I'm doing the math right in my head. It might be, I think it's somewhere around there. And that's without counting the fact that you should be building housing anyway to get additional money from your city pop and additional victory points from there as well. So I'm going to pause here and talk about sort of the strategy. So I don't have heavy flak on my flagships. What I end up doing is I put it onto the PT boat to get the 1 damage there, which will sink that. And then I'm sort of making sure that I have enough damage. I'm mathing it in my head, so that I'm going to be able to sink the cruiser as well. So I'm going to get, I believe it's 5 off my cannons, 4, and then a couple. And I end up failing here. I think it shoots down the 1 plane I needed to survive to kill it. But because it's at 1 health, they decide to retreat it and go heal it, if I remember right. So we'll watch for a second as it unfolds here. Either that or I only had 1 plane. No, I had... Yeah, it worked. I guess I was wrong. I thought I remembered it surviving. I think the next one I get down to 1 health and then it retreats. And then I eat a whole bunch of death denieds. But, we'll get there in a minute. So anyway, the thing about refineries and downtowns is that you really only want a refinery if you're at like 10 turns, between like 7 and 10 turns, or if you just have like a desperate need for cash flow, but it takes 6 turns to pay itself off. So, but you don't get profit until you have 7 turns later. So you might so by the time you get to turn 6 or 7 that's left, there's no point in building a refinery. It's only going to hurt your VP. And you could have just had a ship and it would crawl across the whole map and get all the way over there. So let's see. Here, I think I end up going for... I have 9 turns left. I think I don't get anything except for, the CVL. And you might say, why CVL? Well, I know I need a carrier. I need to maximize my damage. And here, I really actually want to prepare the flagship. But if I... Oh. Actually, I guess I do that. Yeah, this must be where I take the cruiser down to 7 then. Or, I mean, deal 7 and it goes down to 1. And then it retreats rather than fighting me. So, the part of the reason the transport's in front is I know I won't kill them, and I want to take less death denieds. So I put the transport there to bait that if he goes for getting into close combat, that he'll hopefully do it on the transport, and then he'll see that he can sink the transport, and he might choose that over the flagship, but probably not. You'll also see I have a couple destroyers that are almost here to support everything. I did sink the sub already earlier, and because I'm spamming destroyers at the moment, the AI is probably going to build more cruisers, which is kind of the plan. So somebody was also saying, oh, they respond to what I build and all that stuff. So the AI does get a little bit of cheatery in that sense of it gets to know what you have. It doesn't quite know where it's at, so to speak, but basically this is to prevent it from just building complete garbage at random or that kind of thing. Now, to combat this, at lower levels of difficulty, I add noise to what it's doing, and regardless, they almost, at least half the time, if not more than that, they have ship preferences of their own, so they'll end up building sort of what's optimal for what they quote-unquote prefer, rather than what's the perfect optimal counter to you. So, and I believe those bonuses tend to be 10 to 20% of a preference per thing. So let's see, we'll talk about the strategy here real quick. You can see that I've set up the CVL and that so that I can bomb the heck out of the cruiser, so that if it comes up to me, I'll finish it off. I also believe I end up attacking the destroyer with the flagship, and that's so I can send it packing. Basically, if it comes up, it'll have 1 health, so they either have to decide to repair it or not. You can see I again bait with the transport, just in case they go for it. And I think in a sec I end up moving the destroyer up as a safety mechanism, just to make sure I have the extra damage. But that might be next turn. Yeah. You can see I'm building a sub here. Now this is exactly where somebody's going to say, but subs are terrible, and they have a destroyer. Oh my god. You already have a sub. This is done. So what's going to happen is in 2 turns, that sub is going to go clog their city up. So if I take out this destroyer, and my 2 carriers make sure that they don't have another destroyer, the sub will single-handedly win the game by sitting on their port. This is so abusable that I have like hundreds of lines of code for the AI to do protect its transports from subs, and protect its ports from subs, and do safety recons on itself and whatever. And yes, that makes subs hard to use, but that's because they're kind of too easy to use. I know that they're super weak, but in a minute you're going to see that all 3 of the maps, actually the first 2 maps, I end up clogging up their city with a submarine because they can't do anything about it. And then after that, I've bought myself the time to go build stuff out of my ports. And so you can see here, what we know is that they have 2 highly damaged ships, and that's it. And so, or maybe there's 1 more. I don't quite remember. There is 1 more. What a pain in my ass. Yeah, this is why I end up taking like 3 or 4 death denies. But, so I'll talk about that for a sec. This is on hard. It is meant to be hard. On normal, you'll have an easier time. They start with less money, they start with less ships. You know, whatever. They start with less stuff. And so, on top of that, they also don't do things as well. Like I said, that's kind of where the noise goes into what they're building, so that they build less efficiently. Also on normal and easy, they have noise added to their move score, so they choose less optimal moves more often. They, see, let's watch this for a sec. Yeah, so here I see, okay, they have 2 damaged ships and 1 healthy one. So all I have to do is survive 1 turn, and my sub is already in range to go clog their port. So as long as I survive 1 turn, we win. Win guaranteed, there's nothing they can do about it, etc. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting as much damage as I can in the way, or on top of the flagship, so if they go melee the flagship, they'll take extra from the destroyer and the sub. So I'm getting extra damage ready, and then the plan is basically kill the 2, hammer the 1, and just try and make sure that as little damage as possible is coming in, and that we should be able to clog up the port next turn. Now, mind you, this is also how you're supposed to use subs in the other context. See how the sub is positioned in a way that they're probably not going to detect it with a... Even if they build a destroyer, it's unlikely they're going to put the destroyer there. They're going to... It's too close, it's going to take extra damage, etc. It's unlikely I have a sub in that location. So the AI is not going to put a destroyer there in all likelihood, unless I've baited it really hard. And because of that... Okay, so here's where all the death denieds come up. So this is actually... This is where the luck comes in. So this is a bit why I was talking about FTL. So in FTL, if you play on hard, the first system is actually way harder than the next, like, 3. Until they have 3 shields, the game is almost a cakewalk. As long as you know what you're doing. And so this is one of those scenarios where you just have to say, well, maybe I waste 10 minutes of my time, and they get lucky and kill my flagship. But if they don't, I have a ton of turns to build up. I have enough turns to capture... Yeah, and I got screwed there, too. I didn't quite do enough damage to prevent the extra shots. But I've eaten all my death denieds, and now you can see, hey, look. We're down to easy mode. There's nothing the computer can do to get out of this. They basically soft lock themselves, because now their port is undefended against the submarine. It's undefended against everything else, too. But, you know, that's its own problem. Anyway... So yeah, again, the difficulty curve is sort of like FTL, in the sense of this first one is going to be a little bit luck-based. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to validate, to get through it reliably. But yeah, you can see there, now they're clogged up. There was no danger for my flagship. The flagship can go repair, because I have 6 turns left. CVL will sink that. I should capture their city here soon, because I think I have a transport nearby. So, anyway, we'll probably skip ahead because this is all kind of deterministic. So yeah, with these couple of turns left, I'll talk a little bit about what else is going on. So you can see this is Mission 1. I have the 3 cities. I think I might have built a second downtown. We'll see in a second. No, I didn't. So with 1 downtown, I'm already at 15,000 victory points, which means I'm guaranteed to get the 10k, which is needed for the first bonus. I won't get the second bonus, but that's not a problem. And let's see here. So I have a couple of CVLs and a carrier. So you might say, why are you building CVLs? Well, at the time I couldn't afford carriers, so that's the first reason. And that's basically why they exist. If you can pump out extra carriers, especially before Mission 2, and you're worried at all about gun forts, that's how you deal with them. You make sure you have enough carriers. Now, we can talk about how this may or may not have gone well for me or whatever, but you can see the flagship is basically fully healed. It's actually a pretty huge fleet going into Mission 2. Sometimes I have less than half of this. So, Mission 2 should go nice and smoothly, but it's especially going to go smooth because I have a couple of battleships, so if they have cruiser spam, I can deal with that. I have the carriers, so if I run into forts, I don't get completely gummed up by that. Yeah, this is a huge fleet for going into Mission 2. It's very good. We got 2 extra turns for the reward, which is nice. This has been nerfed over and over, so now it's now it scales with how far you are into the campaign, and even at 2 turns, it feels amazing. So 90 city population. I just got 5 extra turns on the next mission. So when you look at me and you say, "Oh, it's easy mode," blah blah blah. When I go into Mission 3, well, I got 5 extra turns on the map. You probably aren't because you're not building a downtown. You're building refineries. Refineries, they're not a noob trap, but you should only be building them if you absolutely need them, or if you already have the victory points to cover it. Because the victory points are giving you extra turns, and extra turns are the most powerful thing that you can do in the campaign. This is how you get to Mission 10, and so anyway, let's see. So you can see that I'm telling my subs to kind of stream out into random directions right now, and so that's so that I can scout a bit. You can see I didn't even see that fort there yet, so I'm gonna move a whole bunch of crap into range, and then I'm gonna stop and give a kind of dumbfounded look, and then just make sure that I have enough damage. That was an accident. I should probably try and figure out how to clean that up so I don't accidentally cause that to happen. So yeah, about here I go, oh shit, there's a fort. So the good news is I know what it is, because if you saw that recon, it's because I was worried about a wolf pack. And then I look at the fort and I go, shit. But I have enough damage to one-shot it, so I know it might sink my transport, but it actually ends up shooting at my destroyer, which is great. I should probably change the logic on that. Transports are undervalued by the AI in general because I don't want them to... I don't want transports being tanky, really. But forts should probably prioritize killing them. And I honestly, I thought I had that coded in, so there must be a bug in there. Because it's supposed... Maybe it's only if they're on the port. Maybe they ignore them if they're not on the port. Anyway, what I've got about 25,000 lines of code handwritten. So it's easy to start forgetting small details, like how exactly do I prioritize this? Anyway, so yeah, you can see here, this is why you always bring a couple, at least an additional carrier every time, even if it's a CBL. Because now, even if I had run into 2 forts here, I would have killed both forts and I'd be able to just move along. And that's with just the flagship and 1 other carrier. And that's because I would one-shot one on my turn and then one-shot one on theirs. With the 4 carriers, I could eat something like 3 forts, if not more. Potentially 4, although I'd probably get shot a bunch. So this is a whole bunch of movement, so I'm going to skip ahead a bit. So let's see, we'll go to here where you can see my subs do a couple of things. So let's see, with the CBLs, you can see that I've spotted one of the recons, so they're just kind of using their extra recons to look for forts. And this is how I try to meander through any map that has forts. It's basically just safety. Forts are really tanky against anything that's not a plane, and they're long range and heavy firepower. It will just trade pretty evenly with a battleship or cruiser. So the big thing is just, yeah, don't run into them. Have a couple of carriers. Use your recons for that, because they shouldn't, if they started with forts, unless you're on a map that had multiple modifiers, they shouldn't have wolf packs. So then here you can see that sub is kind of looking for forts. Same with this. And then you'll also notice that both subs are conspicuously placed 5 hexes away from their port. Now, this is again how you use them. What I'm doing is I'm setting up 2 blockers so that I can block their building, their production, each turn. As long as I can clear out the destroyer, or if it comes out for some other reason or whatever, presuming that they have one guarding it. If I remember right, they do. And I do get screwed on one of the subs, but there's going to be really obvious evidence of the AI not knowing where my subs are here in a minute. Because when they do their move, they're going to jump on top of one with a battleship. And there's no reason they would do that if they knew that there was a sub there. It's super suboptimal. I guess pun intended. Let's see here, so the CBLs take out the fort. You've seen this before. I'll scoot forward a little bit. Let's see. So you can see them moving. They move 2 things in range of a sub, which shows that they don't know where it's at, because they don't... Otherwise they wouldn't do that. It's a stupid move. This is also not a very good move from him, but, you know, they're starting to be a tad aggressive, and I think I'm in range of a carrier and I don't realize it. But yeah, we'll munch the cruiser. This will gum us up for a turn. We'll end up munching the other one too. Now you might say, why are you taking extra flak here? This is like super mild optimizations that I do. So, because the other cruiser only needs, 1 or 2 damage, I'm just going to send the 2 planes after it rather than the 4, so I can get the extra 1 or 2 damage on the other cruiser. Because there's plenty of times in the game where you're going to end up with somebody who has 1 health or 2 health left, and if you had just optimized it slightly, you wouldn't have had to deal with it. Let's see here. So yeah, here we see that they're guarding it, so we back up. And unfortunately, if something moves out, which it's going to next turn, I believe, it's going to discover that sub because I left it too close to the exit there. So now I'm giving a wide berth to that, and then you see that I know they're going to do safety recons, so I decide I'm going to be extra safe with that one, because, again, my hope is to go clog their port. You can see I built a downtown first. Why did I do that? Because I had 18 turns left. So it's going to earn me more money than a refinery. It's also going to earn me, what is that? It's like 16,000 extra VP just on its own. It's somewhere in that range, 15,000. On top of that, it's going to give me, over the course of that, 18 extra population, plus it's paying for 3 houses. So it's the 3 houses by themselves are worth 27, because I have active builder. So it's paid off 27 of itself right off the bat. Then it's going to give me 18 population, which are worth 9 income. Then it's going to give me tens of thousands of victory points, plus the extra victory points from the population. It's an insane deal. It's interesting that so many people go straight for the refinery, because they're not really thinking it through. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, I'm looking at the battleship. I'm trying to gauge whether... I'm trying to min-max my damage so I can sink the transport, because I really don't want them to capture that city. And I'm trying to make sure I'll sink the cruiser. I believe I step on a sub here in a turn. I'm switching my transports out so I can heal the 1. Something that's worth noting about healing, anytime you can, you should. It's effectively free money, because it's like extra production. So anytime you're producing something, you're getting extra health on the field and whatever. So the extra production, so to speak, of healing your units up. Oh, that's right. So you might say, why am I intercepting here? These interceptions go pretty good if I remember right. Well, effectively I'm reducing what their carrier's output is going to be for the rest of the game, and I'm trading my output for theirs, which is great anytime you're ahead. So if I think I'm ahead here, which I should be, because of how much I entered the map with, then it makes sense to just trade your planes for their planes. You should get a better deal anyway. And then I think I do the same thing here. I think I sink the cruiser, yeah. And then I take out a bunch more planes. And yeah, I might lose a bunch of planes, but it's not going to matter, because if I'm the bully, so to speak, then the attrition rate favors me. So I might as well cause them earlier attrition like this. Plus, I don't need to sink, like... Let's see. Yeah. So I think here I go for bombing run because of two reasons. I believe we scouted a couple destroyers, and I want the destroyers to come out so they'll leave my other sub alone. I need to get rid of them so I can go clog the port. Additionally, we sank the transport, so we don't have to worry about them capturing the city, which means either we have to bombard it, or they're going to get production, or all kinds of other problems. We don't want them to get the money, we don't want them to get the BP. Notice, they probably built a downtown, and that's why they're screaming ahead at 5,000 BP already. Again, just things to think about. So I'll talk about the breakpoints for a sec while this is going. The first breakpoint for VP is at 10K, just to kind of make sure that you're actually going for it and not getting it on accident. And then the second one is actually at 15, so you get a... So I believe it goes 10, 15, 25, 40, 60, 80, 100, something like that. And so by the end here, I believe I hit the 30,000 mark. Because I have so many turns, and of course I built the downtowns, which is what I'm going to be talking about, because I've been told that they suck, and they're actually way better than, than the refinery. They're so much better than the refinery that I'm still considering that they should maybe get a nerf. But they have the opportunity cost that a refinery gives you instant cash flow. But if you go bully them with your flagship hard enough, you don't need the cash flow. So this is sort of the same thing when people are playing FTL. They go and they play too safe, or they like won't buy shitty weapons, or I don't know, various things like that. They spend too much on healing, whatever. And if I remember right, this flak goes really well. So I already shot down two more, 3 more. That's pretty good. Plus, I think that was the one I had already shot down a bunch of planes for. Now, another thing I think I see people doing is that you absolutely should be next to neighbors as often as you can so you get their supporting flak. You can see here that the carrier is guarding 4 of those guys, and 4 of them are guarding the carrier. So the carrier is sitting on 7 flak, and each of its little buddies, each of those tanky units, are sitting on at least 3 or 4 flak. Let's see, what else can I talk about here? I put up some extra patrols. That might have gotten them to skip a turn there. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so something interesting here. So with the PT boat, yes, it did 3 to my sub. Yes, I'm going to lose the sub if I don't pull it back. But instead... also, later it's going to be very apparent that that sub, when I go to block their port, is in range of at least 2 forts. So this is not something that you can just go do with any unit. The only one who can block this effectively is the sub. So check this out. There's a fort right there. Doesn't even matter that there's a destroyer. I'm effectively killing that cruiser by not letting them build it, which means I'm ahead by an extra ship. So this is how you have to think about all of the snowballing in the game. When you're preventing them from building one, you're effectively destroying it, because it never gets produced, and even if they produce it next turn, now they're not producing the other thing they were going to. So I think this round is kind of interesting. I'll skip ahead through the movements because there's a lot of thinking, whatever. That's probably good enough. So you can see that I'm super aggressive with the brawlers on the carriers. I built a nice little flak castle there. I believe I shoot with my carrier first because it's at 8. And 8 is a breakpoint where a carrier can one-shot you. The other thing is the AI prioritizes to a small degree. units you haven't already used. So when it sees that I've already used my carrier, it says, well, it's not worth as much anymore, because even if I kill it, I'm not preventing any damage. So it kind of looks at how much damage it's going to prevent, and goes off of that when it's making a bunch of scoring decisions. Also here, this helps me, I believe I sync both carriers, or I get close to syncing both. The other thing it does, like I was saying, the other thing it does is part of the AI decision making when it's deciding on whether to shoot your carriers or not is based on how many planes they have left. So if you see that you have one that's probably going to die, you may as well fling all of its planes into the most dangerous area that you can and get as much damage as you can. Because also, if they shoot down all the planes, they might just leave your carrier alone and give you time to go heal it. So you can kind of use your planes as a bargaining chip. Like, yeah, sure, you can go kill my carrier, but it's not worth anything anymore because it's got no damage on it for the next 5 turns, right? Now this is in part because I know the exact scoring algorithm, and so I can kind of toy with it. But also anybody who plays this game long enough is probably going to start figuring these things out. Or if they decompile the code or whatever. Let's see here. Yeah, I think it's just enough to kill that. Although I might actually as stupid... Yeah, and that makes sense, because battleships are a hell of a lot more dangerous. And the sub is going to be dead anyway. Now, again, this is something here, like, the CVLs are... They might seem like they're not doing much, but they went and they took out a fort, they went and they killed that sub, they're going to move forward and help deal with the battleships. They're a support unit. Yes, they are weak as hell, but they are also a complete, like, full amount of damage carrier, and all you're giving up is the health. So by all means, carriers are better. Like, they can take on a battleship on their own and win. But a CVL, 3 CVLs can take out 2 battleships, and have 2 of the CVLs left. And there's nothing the battleships can do to avoid that. They're just guaranteed to die in 3 combat phases at worst. Or 2 combat phases if it goes well for the CVLs. And it also depends on who starts it. The CVLs move up and one-shot a battleship and then move away. They'll only take 6 damage. And so that's like the dichotomy between CVLs and carriers. Yeah, you're going to lose them more often, but they're going to put out a higher amount of damage than the carriers if you were not production constrained, that is. Now, something on that, just to say, one of the tech options... So, you know, I've gotten complaints about the late game sometimes boiling down to just carriers and battleships. You know, the campaign, it doesn't happen quite as much because the attrition rate is so high, and a lot of times you don't have unlimited money, and you have a short amount of time, so you're not on, like, turn 30 with a size 70 city versus the same thing on the AI. But it's worth saying that in the real game, there are 3 ways of teching effectively. One is you go for super ships. Now, you'll have to unlock super ship tech or have a perk for it, depending on what game mode you're in and all that kind of stuff. There are various ways to get super ships, but the short version is, in the campaign, the only way you'll have them is with a perk. And that perk is specific to the one that you want to build, and they also take forever to get to, because it takes, like, 50 population before you can start building them. So, super ships are hard to get. And so you're probably gonna, like, you would hear, I think on mission 3 I end with like 17 turns left. That would actually be a stellar move rather than building up if I already have a huge fleet, for ensuring that I have tons of time, because on the off chance that I would get a super ship tech lab the next time, or have, or yeah, just use that time to tech up and then get some super ships out on, like, mission 4, and then ride it easy for a bunch of the campaign with a bunch of super ships. Let's see. So it's, what I'm doing here is I'm sort of min-maxing my recons to look for forts and ensure that I can shoot the fort with the carrier so I can start taking it out, so I can go capture their city. And then also, I'm making sure that I have the ability to pelt that battleship with the planes. And these extra recons here are just to, like, scout for subs and stuff. Yeah, basically nothing left. And part of that is I gummed up another ship or two, like I said, by clogging up their port. And that attrition rate matters a ton. You can imagine if there was one more cruiser up top, my carriers would be retreating because it would just go one-shot that carrier up there and be pelting my battleship, or my flagship the next turn. So that attrition rate matters a ton. That sub, that all it did was shoot a PT boat and jump on the port, effectively shortened this game by several turns, and kept another carrier alive, and effectively killed that cruiser. Super strong. It's not... They're not easy to use, but again, they're great. Like, especially if you get the Siege Specialist perk. I rolled that on one of the missions one of the times. Which means you're denying the VP and the money when you just have a sub there. And I had that a couple of games ago. And so not only could they not produce anything for those turns, they lost probably 120 bucks worth of income. So they didn't produce 3 ships. They also didn't earn any money. They also didn't earn 3,000 victory points, which means I effectively earned a whole bunch of extras, if you want to look at it that way. Let's see, so we're going to roll way forward in this, because the rest of this is just, yeah, I mean, I sink these couple of ships here, but the rest of this is easy going. I just send a bunch of carriers up to eat all the forts, and then I build an ass ton of ships. I think I end up with like 3 downhounds. So yeah, we're going to go way late on this mission here. Skip about 20 minutes of me dinking around. So yeah, you can see here, it's the end of Mission 2. I have an absolutely atrocious fleet. This, I don't know what it's worth. It's probably like 900 fleet worth. You can see I'm at 33,000 victory points. Easy. Why did that happen? I'm going to repeat this again. Look at these cities. Size 60, size 50, size 60 almost. 55 by the end. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that I have insane geometric growth on the victory points. They're also producing a ton of money. I'm just spamming extra battleships and carriers every turn. And even though they can't get there, because I know I'll get extra turns next time. Right? So we'll here in just a sec I end it. I believe I hit 40,000 VP. I'll only get the 3 clocks, but it's not really a big deal. I think I earned something like 8 turns on this one. So I leave a couple hundred fleet behind. I still have $100. I just make sure everything gets into the exit area. Absolutely atrociously huge fleet. This is the end of Mission 2, turn 20. Now, again, how did I get to turn 20? I came here with extra turns. And this is how you get extra turns. You have to leave ships behind. You have to get population. You have to get victory points. So when you tell me that houses are garbage because they don't do anything, and then I leave with 9 extra turns, you're just misunderstanding the game. Let's see here. So, in between the cut, I went and I fixed the bug for the display thing. Again, look at that insane fleet at the top left. This was one that somebody was also talking about. They're like, well, I can't rebuild the cities in time. It's like, well, it totally, A, you can, but B, if you come in here with fucking 9 extra turns, yes, you got tons of time now. Like, so I'm going to skip ahead 10 minutes because there's a ton of movement here. Let's see here. So I skipped ahead a few turns because of all the movement going on. So about here, my subs have been scouting, looking to see if I can find anything. It turns out that I have forts. I rolled forts again, so I did get shot. I ran into 1 or 2 forts, and I got shot by him and took him out with carriers again. I haven't been able to build anything yet because I just captured the city off in the back, and then I captured the one in the middle, which is the one that I need to rebuild, which you'll see in a sec when it goes over my upkeep phase. Yeah, so you see that they detect a sub because of the safety recon. Again, that's only on hard that they do that, so if you hate that, go play it on normal. It's a bit easier, but it's not so easy as to make it pointless to play. The reason I rushed a sub up here, where he's at, is because I wanted to catch the possibility of them getting the city. I ended up being a turn too late. They already captured it. But it's fine because they haven't, like, built it up or anything. If I was a turn slower, they'd probably have a shipyard on there, or they'd be building it, and I'd potentially be dealing with an extra entire ship every turn. So here, whoops, turns out there's just an insane mass of brawlers. This is part of the anti-snowballing thing, so it is worth it to build up a huge fleet, but the computer does get some extra resources to compensate, just to help make it interesting, or else this would just be like a waste of time. Even so, I believe I end this mission on turn 17. So the rest of this video is just insanely action dense. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit, wait till we get to the shooty phase here. Let's see, so I put a cruiser on the transport to kill it. I put the battleship and the cruiser next to the sub, in case I decide to use the sub for anything. But also, if it turns out they find the sub, like, they're unlikely to stick a destroyer there because they don't want to be in range of those ships. And they're unlikely to recon there because it has a bunch of flak nearby. So this is, again, another way you can use subs, is if you... Also, you can see it's positioned such that if they move a cruiser to attack me, I'll be able to shoot the cruiser with the sub. So I'm saving the sub and the sub's activation for if I absolutely need it. Now, so if you're here where I'm using the carrier, I'm just trying to make sure I finish off this fort, so that if they sink my carrier... sorry, I'm prepping the damage so I can finish it off. This way, so if they sink my carrier, like I thought they might, then I don't lose out on that damage. And so you could say, well, why not patrol? Well, I don't know that I'm actually going to be able to save it. So if I don't actually save it with the patrol, I'm wasting that damage. So instead, I look at it as, I'm just going to get that damage out to make sure I sink the fort. I think I end up failing. I think it ends on 1 health. But it doesn't matter too much, because the whole problem is I need to make sure that that's gone, so that I can go screw up their city and clog it up. So again, if it sits there for 2 turns, it's going to start pumping ships out like crazy. And so I don't want that. I want them to be gummed up, so I just face what's on the map with my superior force. And you can only do that if you rush them. Just like every RTS ever, the good strategy is you need to be super aggressive. And if you're super aggressive, you're going to go out, you're going to take out their fleet, you're going to capture their cities, prevent them from building, and it's really hard for me, in terms of designing the AI, to make sure that they can put up a good enough fight without cheating. It's annoying. People will see that I get really defensive when they're like, "Oh, it's cheating, it's cheating." It's like, no, it's not. There are certain things that there are certain things that it gets that are asymmetric to you. Like, the AI doesn't care about fog of war. And sorry, it's just, it doesn't... I can go into a whole long discussion about why it's not worth programming that. But the short version is it's extremely low value. I could go through the giant pain of having them jiggle units forward 1 or 2 hexes and then jiggling them back so that the player can see that they're doing the same things as the player. And all of that extra work would result in them getting the same shots almost all the time. And it's like, why? Just so the occasional weird time that they're able to shoot one of your things with a carrier out of LOS, like, it wouldn't even come up in this game at all. Like, it's so... The other thing is the player can't even know if they have a sub nearby who can see them. I don't even, as the developer, have any idea where their subs are. Their subs, by the way, their sub logic is super interesting, but that'll be a topic for another time. Possibly a devlog or something. Anyway, main thing here is, you know, I'm going to use, of course, the things that are going to get sunk first. And then the other thing I'm prioritizing is making sure I shoot my short-range units first so that they don't accidentally get caught out of range. And then pointing the battleships at the cruisers and pointing the carriers at the battleships, because that's the intended balance. Effectively, you're getting a little bit of free damage on the battleship, and you're not getting nerfed by the armor. See, again here, see how there's a sub there? It's in front of my fleet. It's going to get a free shot on their turn, and they won't even get to retaliate or know where it's at. So, again, that's an optimal way to use a sub there. I scouted with it, I then brought it back. I'm now going to get an extra shot with it. I'll get a shot on their turn also. If it's covered by a bunch of flak, or they can't reach it with a destroyer, then it's going to get to shoot again. So it'll just keep shooting over and over as long as you use it correctly. And the reason they're good is because it costs 15 to get the same damage output as a battleship. Like, and that's even before realizing that when we have crits coming in, which is soon, they're going to get double crit chance. So double crit chance will mean they're probably hitting harder than a battleship against most targets. On top of being invisible, on top of clogging ports, on top of being almost a third the price. So, I get that subs are hard to use, but you see that I still got 2 left. They're still going to be acting for like the rest of the game. Okay, so I'm going to skip forward a little bit so you can see sort of towards the end of the combat. Oh yeah, they reveal their flagship. It unfortunately has 3 sets of planes. I think it has like 11 planes or something, which is like mine. It's actually almost the same loadout as mine. It's got 4 turrets, 3 bonus planes, base health. Copycats. What else can I say about this? Yeah, finish off that fort. Okay, we're going to scoot forward a bit, and then I'll talk about the strategy going. Let's see. So you can see here, what I do is I build like a wall of battleships, and then I put my sub behind it, so they can't get to the sub. The battleships are going to do a little bit of bonus damage. They're going to take a little bit of extra damage too. But again, this is sort of the attrition rate thing. I know I have a bigger fleet than them, so I'm being hyper-aggressive and saying I don't care if I trade 1 damage for 1 damage or 2 damage for 2 damage. I'm going to be winning in that trade because I have more total health and more total ships and all that stuff. So, but yeah, and these guys are just kind of trying to find any subs. I end up failing. It turns out there's a sub like right on top of me. But that might be in a turn or 2. And then yeah, these guys are just kind of building a little flak castle. You can see that my cruiser's up there blockading their city. You can see this is all set up to sink as many cruisers and battleships as I can, but I'm also going to take out 1 or 2 of those destroyers and keep them from landing on my sub. You can see my sub still gets to shoot and then it has like a ton of flak on top of it. So if they want to go recon it, they're probably going to lose the recon. And if they don't lose the recon, they still have to fly their planes through all that flak to kill the sub. Very good spot. And I could have instead, as a different option with this sub, I could have went and gummed up their city, but I thought I might as well just sink all their stuff, because it doesn't matter if they produce 1 or 2 ships here. I have so much stuff here. Let's just take care of this giant mass of brawlers, get every bit of damage that I can. Yeah, I was aggressive here to go sink that carrier. And then I'm not even very worried about the damage the flagship is going to do. Cruisers are good against planes, so just let them eat the damage, and be ready to threaten that flagship and pressure it to run into my other fleet. Like, you can already tell, it's been only a couple turns since we engaged each other, and this whole thing is way in my favor. Like, They're going to lose basically everything by the end of next turn. I'll still have an insane amount of ships, and it goes pretty well. So I think we're going to skip ahead a bit, just to kind of show this resolve. Yeah, so down here it looks like they sank 2 battleships. They might get a 3rd one. They sank a carrier or 2 with theirs because they moved up aggressively. They can't get to the sub. Again, look at this. Sub's gonna get yet another shot. That's 4 shots from just this one in 2 turns. Like, great. It's doing the damage of a battleship every turn, sometimes more. In the case of a battleship, it's dealing 5 to it, which is more than what a battleship does. So, pretty stellar. And then I do an interesting split here in a turn. I purposely leave the destroyer and the battleship alive because I know I can take them out with like secondary guns or extra shots of things. And so I worry about sinking the cruiser that's got like full health rather than anything else. Skip action because I want to capture it with the extra 1 population that it has. You know, that's not much, but it is something. So we have that city. Got a bunch of stuff moving up. We're rebuilding the ruins there. That'll take another 5 turns to get done, so I might not even finish that before I get out of here, actually. Which is a bit silly, but I obviously have the amount of time to finish it. We'll skip the movement phase, for the most part. So you can see here that at the end of the movement phase, I set up my carriers to be able to sink that battleship without retaliation. I set my flagship up to be able to take out that split and or put damage on the carrier, which is what I end up doing. I think for fun here, I start building subs just to rub it in that they're fine. It's a little late. Like, when there's 19 turns left and you've almost won already, it's like, oh, look, I can build subs with all the money I have. But it's still like, I've been building them up throughout the whole game. Let's see, skirmish phase. Yeah, do some extra damage on the carrier. This is, again, small optimizations just to say, like, well, it's not going to cause him to take any less activations, probably. Let's see here. So yeah, I believe I start by sinking the CBL, which will prevent a full set of 2-plane activations. Always do that if you can, just like the computer does it to you. I have so many checks in the code to try and get them to not suicide theirs, and then to try and make sure that they kill yours as fast as possible, because that's of course what makes CBLs difficult to use, is they're so weak. So yeah, we take out the destroyer, take out that guy. We already let that battleship shoot, so it doesn't matter, but we'll send the 1 plane after him. Hey, got it. They're focused on shooting that up. Look at this sub, gonna get another shot in. Oh my god, so much value. Also, he's guarded by, currently, 5 flak, so if they don't sink this battleship, there's like no way they're gonna recon it. Or if they do, they lose the recon. I don't remember which happened. Another thing to remember is it takes 2 plane activations to kill a sub, so sometimes it doesn't even matter if they can detect it, as long as you realize that they can't sink it, then they can waste their plane activation and put the sub at half health all they want. It doesn't fucking matter. So, let's see, they blast the shit out of my cruiser, that's fine. We keep pressuring this carrier because I'm trying to make sure that, yeah, it turns out that, oh, these patrols kick ass, watch this. It doesn't matter because I'm going to sink their thing, but they don't even manage to kill the battleship because they... yeah, I end up... they can't kill the battleship with their 2 plane activations because the patrols roll so well that time. So, for all the people hating on patrols, they do work sometimes. They absolutely do. And, You know, I know it's a dice rolling game underneath the hood. There's a big devlog coming out about that, if it hasn't already come out. Because it's a, in my opinion, really cool system. I'm a map nerd. So basically it looks like it's real time. There's a part of it that's kind of real time, and but most of it is effectively a dice rolling system. And I'm really proud of that mechanic. It's so goofy. There's so many weird little isms about it that make it so it's like, yeah, there's no gameplay like that on anybody else's game. And I'm sure that, to some degree, that you could argue that's a bad thing. But, I don't know, playing with all the Dark Souls and whatnot that I've played, I love these, like, non-linear map systems that you can just sort of, this is a very tiny optimization here with the plane, where I just sort of say, yeah, I'll toss the extra 2 damage at it, risk the plane. Doesn't matter, I've already won. Like, yeah, there's 19 turns left, but they're going to be missing this battleship here, and I'm about to clog up their city with my battleship. Like, they're going to have a flagship, I think a battleship, and then whatever forts are on the map left. So I do think I run into a couple of forts here, but we're going to speedrun all of that in a second. Basically, I'll show you that I kill the flagship. I think it's on my turn that I get it. Let's see. Do they recon? They do recon, and we do shoot down the recon. Way to go. But do they have enough planes to sink the sub? If I remember right, they don't, and so they ended up shooting something else anyway. See, battleship picks at me. Doesn't matter. That's right, I put the patrol on it. That way, yeah, that's great. So I put the patrol on it so that they wouldn't shoot the sub. I didn't even want them to risk it. I was like, no, I want to keep my sub around. So I put the patrol on it so they wouldn't do it. Destroyer does 3 damage to a battleship. We turn around and we actually shoot the city. So one thing to consider, just like the downtown earns you long-term income, shooting a city is effectively long-term income, because every 2 population is 1 income. So if I do 6 damage to a city 1 time, they're down 3 income for the rest of the game. Which, mind you, if there's 18 turns left, and we actually played those turns out, how much is that? That's 3 times 18, that's like 56 or something like that? No, 54. So I could deny 54 income with a single activation if you count it over the course of a game. And so I've had a buddy question me once, like, hey, why did you shoot that city? Like, you could have shot that destroyer or whatever. It's like, I can just go kill the destroyer at any time. It's not really a threat to me at this point. The only thing that's a threat is if my battleship gets sunk, I want to make sure that they are out of the game, right? So I'm doing as much economic damage as I can. I'm trying to make sure I sink this flagship. I'm generating a bunch of VP, so if I stay on the map, and there was actually a mission 4, I'm playing it as though it was something that I was going to keep playing. But, it is the demo campaign. Let's see here. I reveal a bunch of forts. I see something that makes me think I didn't. So yeah, and then I finish it off. They only had a 47% chance to pass, plus I still had torpedoes, a battleship, 2 or 3 plane activations, etc. That flagship was so, like, guaranteed to be dead. So yeah, flagship's down. This battleship will be down. I shoot their city again. I believe they come at me with the destroyer because it's all they can do. And then, yeah, that's game. So I'm going to roll forward. And there's something like 5 forts here. So maybe I'll keep this little spot here. You can see I'm, like, way more aggressive than I should be with these forts, because it means I'm going to take damage. But at this point, I just wanted to finish the game, and I need them to not shoot up my flagship along the way. So I say, whatever, you can shoot. I can kill all these forts in 1 turn if I just be aggressive. So that's what I decided to do. And then I just speedrun the last 2 turns while I move the flagship up. Unfortunately, we can't see the ruined city. It looks like it should be that I end up passing my mission objective. But again, this kind of doesn't matter. This is all formality at this point. This is the demo campaign. But you can see, like, I'm going to end this campaign, or this demo campaign, but if there was a mission 4, I'd have as much fleet as I'd like. I have 16 turns left. Turn up the music. I have as much time as I like to just go repair my ships, have 3 ports, build as much as I want going over there, save up God knows how many victory points, probably 50,000, and go into the next thing with like 10 extra turns while having tons of money, tons of ships, and everything you could ever want. So this is how you're meant to play. You are meant to build those victory points. You're meant to get that city population. You're meant to squeeze every ounce that you can out of the flagship early on so you can snowball. And it's snowball, like, one of the things is this makes the game so ridiculously weird for people when they... It's like FTL again, where some people, they're like, oh my god, this game is completely impossible, nobody can beat this. And then other people are like reliably beating it all the time, on hard. And how do you do that? Well, it comes from all of these little micro-optimizations being piled together. So yeah, here I just move the flagship, end the turn, move the flagship, and I'm done. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Oops. And there you go. Victory, you've beaten the demo campaign. I had 15 turns left, get 21 XP. Holy heck. 21 XP from one mission, I think. That sounds right. So anyway, that's my first game commentary. I hope that that was informative. And, yeah, I hope that shows people that CVLs are usable, submarines are usable, forts aren't so bad, stop building only refineries. Houses and downtowns are important. I don't think I showed it, but out of spite, I built a bunch of extra hospitals for city growth and stuff just to show that that's what they're for. And you can see how many extra turns did I get. I went into the second mission with 5 extra turns, 2 of them from my reward, and then I went to the third mission with another 8 or 9 extra turns, and it's like, this is exactly why extra turns are so powerful, and this is exactly why the campaign feels extremely hard if you're fighting the mechanics of the game. I got stuck on a tangent about late game stuff. I'll talk about that another time. The short version is there's an advanced shipyard which lets you build 2 ships at a time. There are super ships, or you can go crazy hard at victory points because there are 2 more buildings that each do about 700 victory points a turn apiece, as long as you have sufficient population and all that stuff. Anyway, I will see you guys another time. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Talk to you later. Bye.